Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Donald Lapre? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, consider supporting me on Patreon, and check out my podcast on YouTube, Bella Grande Media. I will put the relevant links for those items in the description for this video. So first I'll look at the background in this case, including the criminal activity, and then I'll move to my analysis. Donald Lapre was born in Providence, Rhode Island on May 19, 1964. His family moved to Phoenix, Arizona when he was 7 years old. Lapre did not do well in school. He dropped out of high school. In 1988, he launched a dating service. He declared bankruptcy 2 months later. That same year, he married a woman named Sally Redondo. They would go on to have 2 children. In 1990, Lapre and his wife started a company called Unknown Concepts. This was supposed to be some type of credit repair business. In reality, Lapre simply supplied the contact information for companies that offer credit cards and other benefits. The couple was charged with violating Arizona's Consumer Fraud Act, and the company was shut down. They were ordered to pay civil penalties and more than $5,000 in restitution to their victims. Lapre was not discouraged by this. He started selling a 36-page booklet which explained how to recover a Federal Home Association insurance refund after paying off a mortgage. And he started selling 900 numbers. In 1992, Lapre started broadcasting an infomercial called The Making Money Show with Don Lapre. He would declare himself to be the king of infomercials. He sold a number of different products and services, including a collection of materials like books and tapes he called Money-Making Secrets. This program was really just another way to sell those 900 numbers. The 60-day marketing course cost $295. When somebody would buy the marketing package, Lapre would have sales representatives bombard them with telephone calls, trying to sell them websites and a series of 900 numbers like dating, entertainment, psychic, and chat lines. This would cost about another $850. The salespeople would continue calling, trying to sell television advertising for those phone lines. In 1997, the IRS put an almost $1 million lien against Lapre and his wife. In 1999, Lapre filed for bankruptcy. In 2000, Lapre came up with another scheme. He partnered with a man named Doug Grant, who was into selling vitamins. Grant formulated a new vitamin product. Lapre once again launched infomercials in 2004, where he referred to the product as the greatest vitamin in the world. Lapre made a number of claims about this vitamin. For example, it could treat, mitigate, or prevent conditions like arthritis, diabetes, and cancer. The vitamin was the product of millions of dollars of research and over 100 studies from the New England Journal of Medicine. That's not the way journals work, of course. No journal like that would have over 100 articles on any one topic that specific. There was never even one reference to his vitamin in any article published in that journal. Lapre also claimed that the vitamin was endorsed by an organization representing most NBA teams, and it had a Gold Seal Award. I guess the Platinum Seal was reserved for vitamins that had billions of dollars of research and development and thousands of articles in journals. Lapre's claims about his vitamin were lazy and ridiculous. It's like he didn't have time to make up convincing lies. If for some reason people couldn't figure out that the vitamin marketing plan was a scam, based on the claims I mentioned, Lapre gave another opportunity to detect the fraud through his bizarre financial claims. According to Lapre, people could become independent advertisers for $35. The goal would be to direct people to their website, which was designed to get people to buy the vitamin. They would get $1,000 or up to $200 a month for life every time they convinced 20 people to make a purchase. There was a problem with the math. 20 purchases of the vitamin would add up to about $900. How could Lapre afford to pay $1,000 to make just $900? After many complaints, his company was shut down in 2007. In 2009, Doug Grant, who had developed that vitamin for Lapre, was sentenced to 5 years in prison after being convicted of manslaughter in connection with the death of his wife. He had been charged with first-degree murder. On June 8, 2011, Lapre was indicted by a federal grand jury in Phoenix, Arizona. He was charged with 41 counts of conspiracy, mail fraud, wire fraud, promotional money laundering, and transactional money laundering. The government said that he was running a nationwide scheme, selling businesses that had no value. He had defrauded about 226,000 victims out of $52 million. Lapre was facing between 5 and 25 years in federal prison. He failed to appear in court and was arrested in Tempe, Arizona. At the time he was arrested, he was living in a gym and had a severe wound to his groin that the authorities believed was self-inflicted, like he was trying to bring an end to his life. On October 2, 2011, which was 2 days before his trial, Lapre brought an end to his life in jail using a razor. Now moving to my analysis. It's reported that Lapre had a history of depression and was being treated for depression at the time he was arrested. The last message he wrote on his now defunct website is consistent with depression. Here's a summary of what he wrote. He tried to create the best product on earth, paid out millions of dollars, and tried to make the products better every year, but was ultimately accused of something he did not do. Attorneys reviewed his entire company. He didn't do one thing that would violate the law. The majority of people did not make money with this program, even though he told them they could make as many $1,000 checks as they wanted. He was left to fight a battle that will destroy what energy he had left inside. Lapre made it seem as though, even up to the end, he was innocent. He had a good business that only failed because the people who purchased it didn't follow the plan. They just couldn't accept being handed $1,000 checks. That wasn't good enough for them. This was Lapre's mentality. He maintained his role as the victim, even though he was the perpetrator. Lapre appeared to be quite narcissistic, probably more on the grandiose side as opposed to vulnerable. He was talkative, overly self-confident, did not accept responsibility, was self-centered, had fantasies of wealth and power. He was assertive and had a sense of entitlement. He wanted fame and fortune without really creating anything of value. He simply believed people should hand him money for essentially no reason. Lapre was willing to steal from people at a phenomenal rate. Of the approximately 226,000 people he defrauded, only 5,000 of them ever received any money from his company. Very few people made any type of profit. How was Lapre able to fool so many people? During his infomercials, Lapre demonstrated exaggerated, over-the-top mannerisms. He was unnaturally upbeat, enthusiastic, and energetic. He was highly repetitive, superficial, and creepy. For some time, he was able to avoid scrutiny because his presentation seemed so comically unbelievable. Most people regarded Lapre as harmless, thinking that nobody would fall for his obvious scam. They thought perhaps he would just keep doing infomercials for a while and then give up and go away. It wasn't until he got into the whole vitamin situation where he started attracting attention. Those claims about the vitamin treating a number of conditions were noticed by the authorities. Looking at his specific tactics to trick people into buying, we see a number of items. On his infomercials, he would never actually say what the business was that he was involved with. There were no specifics of the program given. Lapre understood that giving specifics up front in a sales presentation will discourage people from buying. He knew that the value needs to be emphasized over the actual product or service. And that is what he did. Repeatedly in his infomercials, he would talk about how a person could make thousands of dollars for doing almost no work. His infomercials were designed to get people excited, designed to tap into a fantasy. People started thinking about how nice it would be to earn $50,000 a week or whatever, and that excitement would interfere with the application of logic and reason. By the time they heard that they would be advertising vitamins, they didn't care. They were already focused on the money at that point. Lapre had already trapped them through his manipulation. Lapre would interview successful independent advertisers who talked about how it was ridiculously easy to make thousands of dollars. These testimonials would allow a viewer to vicariously feel what it was like to be successful. They wanted to be like the person in the infomercial. They wanted to be stunned that money was just falling out of the sky. Lapre worked hard to identify with the potential victims of his scams. For example, one of Lapre's most notorious lines from his infomercials was how somebody could place tiny classified ads in thousands of newspapers to make $50,000 a week. Lapre claimed that he did this from his tiny one-bedroom apartment. He made it clear that his strategy did not require someone having any skill or work ethic. This was just like a magic money tree that somebody could plant in their yard. Lapre made it seem as though he was just so excited about how he made all this money, he was happy to share the idea with anyone. Moving to the next question. When putting everything together, how does the depression fit in with Lapre's criminal behavior? His depression was severe. Sometimes under those circumstances, a person will fight that feeling by trying to force themselves to the other extreme. Perhaps this is what Don Lapre was doing. He created this whole fantasy where he could become a millionaire by cheating people. He could have everything. He forced himself to be upbeat when recording those infomercials. He was trying to become somebody else. In the end, reality caught up with him. In that moment, all of his attempts to be successful came crashing down. On top of that, it was likely he would be residing in prison for many years to come, not a place usually associated with positive feelings. I think in a way, scam artists like Donald Lapre sometimes need to believe their own scams a little in order to continue their work. They need to fool themselves to some degree in order to fool others to a large degree. Now moving to the lessons learned, what can we learn from the behavior of Donald Lapre? The first lesson, one of the most amazing things about Donald Lapre is how many people think well of him. Even now, he has a large number of supporters, people who believe that he changed their lives. They have good memories of his infomercials. They found him to be positive, charming, and charismatic. He was an inspiration, maybe not so much in the business that he sold, but in their own businesses, the ones that actually worked and made money. Like he helped people to believe in themselves so they could then be successful. Unbridled optimism can be a tool for manipulation. It's one that people don't expect to see from a criminal. It allowed Lapre to fly under the radar. He was able to steal from people and have some of those people thank him for the theft. The lesson here is that even something bad can lead to the formation of good memories. It's all a matter of perception. If people thought that they were having a good experience with Lapre, they will not worry about all the other people that he harmed. I've seen the same dynamic occur in domestic violence situations, where one person in the family was not the victim, and they remember that everything was great. For instance, if there was a situation with a father, mother, and a daughter, and the father harmed the mother but did not harm the daughter may not believe the mother's version of events when they are delivered later in life. Like the daughter might say that the mother was being dramatic because the daughter remembers everything as being fine. Her father was a great man. She has good memories of her childhood. The second lesson, I think that this scam had just about every component that we see in popular fraudulent behavior. Knowing Don Lapre's tactics can help us to detect other scams. Some of these I already mentioned. He was light on specifics. The amount of money that could be earned was disproportionate to the actual amount of work. The investment was minimal, and the math did not work out. The third lesson, when people are very focused on their own suffering, they often cannot empathize effectively with others. It's a special gift to be in pain and yet be able to feel others' pain at the same time. Donald Lapre did not have this gift. His lack of empathy combined with an intense focus on his own suffering to result in an individual who would step on anybody to achieve his own desires. Those are my thoughts on Donald Lapre. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis on this topic worthy to win a Gold Seal Award. Thanks for watching.